So when you see a ship with sails as red as blood, sailing above the wind and the water, you know you will meet your end. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but I didn't really feel like making a new video because of COVID-19 and everything that's going on here. But I finally had time and I had a nice subject, so here I am again. I'm back and I hope you are excited for this new video. I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean a few weeks ago and I really love pirates in general. And I remembered that there are a lot of cool pirate myths and also mysterious sea creatures. So I thought it would be a nice subject for this channel. Some myths are already proven to be false, but others are still up in the air and I really like to see what I can find out about that, and I want to take you with me. There are a lot of myths, so I'm not gonna cover them all in one video. I want to make a few videos. I don't know how many yet because I don't know how many myths I'm gonna cover. So welcome to Myths of the Sea episode 1. In this episode I'm gonna cover the story of the Flying Dutchman. And I'm Dutch myself, so I really like this story because it's well known here. I think the Flying Dutchman is the most well-known ghost ship in the world. In Dutch it's called de Vliegende Hollander and its captain was Willem van der Decken. So the Flying Dutchman is a mythical ghost ship and it's doomed to sail the seas forever and never make port. It's not certain when the story started to spread, but the myth is probably from the 17th century. In the Netherlands, the 17th century is known as the Golden Age, the Gouden Eeuw, because the Netherlands was very wealthy. It was a very good century for them. They had a company called the VOC, the Dutch East Indian Company, and they traded a lot of goods with other countries, especially products from Asia because they had some power there. And they had a lot of maritime power. Unfortunately, one of the reasons that the Netherlands was wealthy was because of slave trade. It's a chapter in Dutch history we all deeply regret, but that was one of the reasons why the Netherlands was so wealthy and maybe even one of the wealthiest countries in that age. The story of the Flying Dutchman goes that one of the captains from the VOC named Willem van der Decken was adamant to sail to East India on Easter morning, even though the weather was really bad and dangerous. It was also forbidden to set sail on a Christian holiday, but there was a power battle going on and van der Decken wanted to be the first to reach Batavia. He had no time to lose. His wife Catharina was against it, but van der Decken would not listen to her. He would sail, even if the weather was bad, even if it was Easter or not. He went to the harbor to meet his crew and together they sailed off, leaving his wife on the quay with tears in her eyes. After a long and hard journey, the ship reached Cape of Good Hope. Suddenly a big storm came out of nowhere and the crew was terrified. They refused to sail further and begged the captain to go ashore. But van der Decken became furious and he threw one of his crew members overboard. And then he shouted, "God or the devil, I'll sail around the cape even if I have to sail until Judgment Day." He would regret saying those words because the devil heard every single word of it. He punished the captain for his greed and arrogance. He cursed the ship to sail the seas forever, to never make port again. All the crew members died, but not van der Decken. He would be alone forever and could never leave the ship. The dead crew silently fulfills their duty, to offer other ships letters addressed to people long dead for delivery. But if they accept them, it will bring misfortune. When other sailors come across the Flying Dutchman, they'll meet their fate. Their ship goes down, they'll have an accident or die a mysterious death. So when you see a ship with sails as red as blood, sailing above the wind and the water, you know you will meet your end. It's not sure if Willem van der Decken really existed, but he's mentioned in a 19th century romance novel called The Phantom Ship, written by the English writer Frederick Marryat. He mentioned that van der Decken had a wife called Catharina and a son called Philip, and they lived in the Dutch city Terneuzen in Zealand. Other people like Thomas More and Sir Walter Scott also mentioned the ghost ship in some of their work. Historians think that Van der Decken is based on 17th century captain Bernard Fokker. He was a VOC captain and he pushed his crew to the limit to reach their destination with great speed. He was known as a tyrant and he was suspected to be in league with the devil. Another inspiration would have been Valkenberg. The Dutch city Terneuzen in the province Zeeland is known as the place where Van der Decken probably set sail. And the city takes advantage of that to attract tourists. They have a monument of the ship and they also have a special organization named the Flying Dutchman. And some of the houses in Terneuzen are known as the houses of Willem van der Decken. One of them is in the Havenstraat, which means the Harbor Street, and the other one is in the Noordstraat, the North Street. And he was born in the Noordstraat and that house is probably haunted, if you believe in such things. Traditionally, a ghost is trapped in one place, but apparently everything is possible in Terneuzen. There have been many reportings and alleged sightings in the 19th and 20th century. I think it's funny that they never happened in the 21st century, because we have so much technology now that we don't really believe in such things anymore. A well-known sighting was by Prince George of Wales, who would be the future King George V. He was on a 3-year voyage in 1880 with his brother Prince Albert Victor of Wales and their tutor John Neil Dalton. And the prince wrote about the Flying Dutchman in his log. I won't read everything, but I will read a small part. He wrote, July the 11th at 4 a.m. the Flying Dutchman crossed our bows. A strange red light as of a phantom ship aglow, in the midst of which like the masts, spars and sails of a brig 200 yards distant stood out in strong relief as she came up on the port bow. 13 people altogether saw her. The night was clear and the sea was calm. At 10:45 a.m. the ordinary seaman who had this morning reported the Flying Dutchman fell from the foretopmast cross-trees on the topgallant forecastle and was smashed to atoms. There are unfortunately explanations why people might have seen the Flying Dutchman. One of them is a mirage, also known as a Fata Morgana. Sometimes there are certain conditions in the atmosphere when the sun's ray can form a perfect picture in the air of objects on the earth. Like when you look in the water or in a glass, but then you see it turned bottom upwards. And sometimes you can see that of a ship far away, so you don't see the ship, but you can see their reflection, but you don't know where the ship is. So if you don't understand why this can happen, it's very terrifying. And there's also another optical effect called looming. It occurs when rays of light are bent across different refractive indices, and this could make a ship just off the horizon appear hoisted in the air. The Flying Dutchman also makes a lot of appearances in movies. And many people know about the Flying Dutchman because of the movie Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, where the ship is very important. The ship is under command by Davy Jones, who got it as a gift from the goddess Calypso, who is also his lover. She also gave him the task to sail the seas and ferry souls lost at sea to the afterlife. He was only able to go on land after every 10 years of duty. So after 10 years he came on land, hoping to meet Calypso there, who said she would wait for him, but she didn't show up. He was angry and heartbroken and decided to neglect his duties. This violation placed a curse on the ship and slowly transformed him and his crew into monsters. The Flying Dutchman became the most feared ship and could destroy any vessel by using the Kraken, a mythical sea creature. So that's another story than the Flying Dutchman story. We know they really took some liberties, but Davy Jones is also a figure from pirate myths, so we're gonna cover him in another video. And you also have the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob SquarePants. He is a ghost and he also has a ship underwater, and well, he's a bit silly if you ask me. And one of the things I love most is the roller coaster ride in the Efteling in the Netherlands. It's one of my favorite rides and it tells the story of Willem van der Decken, so the story I just told you. And I really love the roller coaster. It's a themed roller coaster. It's also very cool because it drops you in the water. And well, if you come to the Efteling once, you really have to go there because it's so much fun. And they also have a Flying Dutchman swinging boat ride in Six Flags Over Georgia and in World of Fun in Kansas City. So the Flying Dutchman caused a lot of fear for hundreds of years, every captain was afraid that it would come across the Flying Dutchman on the seas. But I think we can say that it didn't exist, and also the captain Willem van der Decker wasn't a real figure, because if he was, we would have found some evidence, especially the Dutch people would have found some evidence because they kept track of who the captains were from the VOC or just any captain in general, and we would have known where he lived. And well, it's all up in the air. It might have been lost, but I think we can say he didn't exist at all. But it's a cool story. I enjoy it very much. I was always intrigued by it when I was little. In the Netherlands we don't have a lot of cool stories, so I was very excited to talk about this one. And the next time we're gonna talk about Blackbeard, because I really want to know if he was real or not, because there are different stories about that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it took me so long. I hope to see you next time, and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have another subject which is also about myths of the sea, please let me know in the comments and let me know what you think, and I see you next time. Bye!